All right, so let's get started with this. Um, you know, it's not always easy to know what you're purchasing, considering how the labels are written, how they're not written, and all that good stuff. Um, oh, little break here. So, hey, Alejandro, here's this bottle. I wanted to thank you for picking this up for me. We do not have this store here in Texas. Like I said, novelty item, but actually doesn't smell too bad. A little thin. Yeah, it's a lot thin. Um, it's all right for the price. Actually, for the price, it's pretty good if you're looking for a mixer or something like that. But anyway, thank you. Appreciate that. But anyway, so yeah, I see a lot of guys talking about how they've purchased this bourbon or they don't know where to find information on bourbon, or I see guys or people in general referring to some product that they bought and they're referring to it as a bourbon, or they don't know, looking for ways to get information about maybe a potential purchase. So one of the best places to go, this is the TTB, this is the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, the COLA Registry. And I've already kind of set some of these up. But if we scroll down a little bit here, so when we're going to look up a particular product that you might be considering or one that you may have already, this will tell you the information that's on file, tell you the difference between a 101, a 141, if it's a true bottled in bond, maybe it's a 641, stuff like that. So in this top section here, just go ahead and basically put in 2015, and we're going to go to 130, 2024. So for this particular one, I've entered early times. In this product class, let's go from a 101, and we're going to search all the way through the different product categories to 641. And if you wanted to, you could look those guys up here as well in the class types. You could play around and discover that stuff. But for our purposes, we're going to go to 101, 641. And if you wanted more information on the 101s to 641 class, you could go to the TTB BAM manual, and it will discuss all this stuff for you. But here we go. So 101 to 641, let's go ahead and hit search. And again, I apologize to people. I'm still getting over either a cold or some bad allergies. But let's scroll down here and look at what we have listed here. So right at the top, looks like this label was applied for in 2016. It is in fact listed as a bottle and bond product. The brand name is Early Times. The origin is Kentucky. It is a class 111, so bottled and bond, and it's listed as a class bourbon whiskey bottled and bond. So you can sort of cruise through here and see what these different permits have for early times. Let's go to the next one. I've gone ahead and I pre-filled in the information for Michter's. And that's just so we could take a brief look, quick look rather, at what we have here for this product type. So we've got some 102s, again, refer to the BAM manual with the TTB. The purpose of this is to try and help people become more knowledgeable about what you're buying or drinking or how you discuss these classified beverages. So I would recommend, I'm not going to tell you, but I would recommend perhaps going over and looking at that manual and figuring out what the 102s are, what the 140s are. You'll notice this is a 140 just a whiskey. It's not a straight rye or a straight bourbon whiskey. It's just a whiskey for this particular product. They've got it listed as unblended. But for the most part, we can cruise through the Michter's selection. They've got another 140 here. But it appears for the majority of what we're looking at, we've got 101s, 101s, 102s, 101s, 101s, 102s. So this is a pretty decent lineup in terms of, quality of product. I tend to get scared if I'm looking at a particular company and I see the 141 class, the bourbon whiskey class, because under that designation, you can add some flavors and some colors, about 2.5%. So, that's up to you. It's perfectly normal, but at least you know what you're buying. If you're buying a 141 class, the label leads you to believe that it's some super premium brand that would typically be, say, in the 101 straight bourbon class. Maybe that will help you make better or more informed decisions when you buy products. I personally wouldn't pay a lot of money for a 141. Let's go to the next one here. So this one was pre-filled with Frey Ranch. I just kind of wanted to see what these folks are doing. Everything I can tell by these guys, this is a farm-to-bottle operation. And we can tell that they're, they're relatively new to the scene. But they at least have, 6, 7 different labels filled out here since 2015. So we've got a 219, it's a gin product, 111, so they have a bottled and bond product, 101, which is straight bourbon whiskey, straight bourbons, straight ryes, 101, and another 101. Again, these 111s, 101s, and 102s, these straight products are bottled and bond products. These are typically going to be your premium products because they're not adulterated. Most they can cut these things with is water for the straight bourbons. On the rye, it's pretty interesting as well because if that term straight is missing and it's just listed as a rye whiskey, again, very similar to the bourbon products, they can add 2.5 of non-harmful flavors and colors to that. So again, intended to help you make more informed decisions about what you're handing your money over for. Let's cruise over to the next one. And this is Old Carter. So this is a company I'm not very familiar with. I see their product on the shelves every now and then. It's a big price tag. Well, I'll admit that. But I was curious as to what they were actually putting in their bottles for that price tag. So as we can see here, looks like the earliest label we have only dates back to about 2018. Looks like we have sources in Kentucky. Brand name, of course, is Old Carter. But the class types, we've got a 102 straight rye, 102 straight rye, 101 straight bourbon. We have a 109 other straight whiskey, straight rye, 101, 101. So pretty good lineup, actually. We don't see a 140 until we get way down here, but in comparison to the rest of their labels, that's sort of surprising to me. I thought they would be all over the charts with what's in that bottle, and so just seeing that they have this and it's straight bourbon whiskey, I might actually be inclined to buy some of their stuff now and not be afraid to spend that sort of dollar, knowing that they've got these premium products in their lineup. Now, for me, I'll have to make sure I don't pick up this 140. I don't think that's worth some of the high price tags that they have on there. But, my goodness, this is a great stable. What happened here? Let's go back. So I wanted to get to page 2 for the Old Carter, and it took me someplace weird. All right, so we're back to the Old Carter. Let me cruise down. Oh, I hit new search. Let's just hit next. Let's see what these last 5 records are. And again, yeah, so they're, they've got this stuff listed as 101s, 101, 101, and a 102. Yeah, so I was judging these guys kind of harshly. Just figured they were putting, whatever nonsense in a bottle, and it was going to be like a 641 catch-all whiskey class. But man, this is pretty high up there. I don't know if a 101 is worth that much. I don't know, but at least I'm more educated now because I can see that what I assumed was in the bottle wasn't in the bottle. These are pretty good products. They've got to be at the 101. I'm a straight bourbon purchaser myself. That's the lane I tend to stay in, and if that's what they've got, I might want to try some of that product. So why is all of this important? Time and time again, whenever I'm at the liquor store or sometimes online, I always encounter somebody looking for assistance here, or perhaps it's online where you see claims made about a particular product and they're not true. And, and again, if you're trying to help somebody out and they say they just want something that helps you direct them, if they're saying they're interested in, say like technically a real bourbon, you got to keep them in that 101 class. So it helps to know where you're sending people or what people are telling you or even what you're buying. So let's take a look at this comment right here. This is a discussion about when you could add flavorings and barrel staves to a product. And it was a bit frustrating because not a lot of people realize you can't add flavorings and colorings to a straight 101 bourbon and still call it bourbon. It's totally something else. It usually ends up in the 641 class. So this gentleman here, he says, I'm not trying to be argumentative, just saying there are a lot of bourbons like Maker's Mark 46, as an example, that state they are using French oak staves, but are obviously classified as straight. And that's the term to focus in on there. Is this particular consumer believes that because straight appears on the Maker's 46 label, that it's a straight bourbon product. So he goes on, I think you may be a little off with your definition. Don't get me wrong. The TTB reads like VCR instructions. Well, it can, but then, like I said, what we're going over right now is the TTB COLA, and it will tell you right away what it is not. It's there to help consumers. And he continues, I'm just strange that way. If what you're saying is correct, in no way possible could Maker's Mark 46 be considered a straight bourbon, yet it's approved on their label. So this is a consumer that has just adamantly taken the position that Maker's Mark 46, because it says straight on the label, that it's a straight bourbon, and you can add those maple wood staves to that. And, he thinks that I'm crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about. And a lot of consumers fall into this because they always make the assumption that if it's on the label, it must be true. The only difference here is he didn't finish the statement. What it is a straight bourbon whiskey, and then it's finished in the maple staves. So it's changed. What they're telling you is they started out with a premium product, they modified it, and now it's something else. What is that something else? Well, I've already looked it up, but I'll share it with you here. But remember, the consumer, I'm just strange that in what you are saying is correct. In no way possible could Maker's Mark 46 be considered a straight bourbon, yet it's approved on their label. Well, let's find out. So I've preloaded this, and so here we go. Oh, where that swapped places. That's not cool. And not cool. So whatever reason, old Carter's here. Let's go back this way. We'll do Maker's Mark manually if we have to. Well, it's showing up here. Let's click that. All right, so here we go. Here's Maker's Mark. You can see the permit number for the distillery, serial numbers for individual products, date of completion for labels, brand name, Maker's Mark, origin, Kentucky, class types. Oh, we see a lot of class types. 141 for Maker's Mark, and it's just a standard bourbon whiskey. We see a 101 here, which is going to be the straight, another 101, several more 141s, 101s, 101s, 101s. And this kind of continues down with some 101s. Let's get to the bottom because they have 103 labels. It's a lot to go through. Let's see if we can find that Maker's Mark 46. Oh, right here. So under fanciful name, if we go all the way back down to the bottom of this page, here's the 46, Maker's Mark 46. And we come across, oh my goodness, it's a 641. It is not listed as a straight bourbon product. It's listed as a whiskey specialties, meaning it's flavored. It's no longer bourbon. You know, in comparison, if we look above it here, here's a 101, straight bourbon whiskey. So we literally have this consumer thinking that because it says straight on the label that it's a straight product, and this is so confusing to so many folks, and it's just not true. And I think that's the power of the TTB COLA website, is it will allow you to go in, search a product that you're interested in or you might already have, and find out what exactly its classification is. I believe had this individual used that TTB tool, he wouldn't have made such statements as, yet it's approved on their label. It's just words on a label. That's perfectly legal. It's literally up to the consumer to figure out the correct way to read those labels to know what's in the bottle. So anyway, there you go. I just thought I would share this. It didn't seem to be a lot of or any videos out there talking about this as a tool for consumers to go and look up products they might be interested in. I did in fact learn myself something about the old Carter product, so maybe I'll reconsider them in the future. But anyway, there we go. I hope this helps somebody out, and have a good night. Bye.